As a sales leader, you know how important it is for every single rep to be performing at their best level. If you have a sales team of 5, 10, 15 people, it shouldn't just be about relying on one individual or a few star performers, but instead think about the impact that you can make when every single one of your sales reps is a high performer. So today we're going to chat about how to standardize your sales team performance in 10 steps, specifically looking at a sales methodology, MEDDPICC. So why are we even chatting about this in the first place? Ebsta recently released their 2023 B2B sales benchmark report, and there were some key insights. For starters, 311% of high-performing teams increased their win rates just by the adoption of MEDDPICC. 437% of high performers were more likely to complete the qualification criteria in MEDDPICC as opposed to ignoring it or only completing one or two fields. And 206% of high performers increased their win rates when specifically recording metrics, decision criteria, and paper process. So let's dive in. The realities of a sales team, like I mentioned at the beginning, is that typically you have one star performer, a few star performers, some mid performers, and some people who aren't hitting their forecast, hitting their quota, and just are underperforming. Now, sometimes it's easy to attribute this to luck or they just have that winning personality. But in reality, when you use a sales methodology, you can bring your whole team to be consistent star performers. When you model behaviors based on your best performers, so looking at who those high performers are and replicating that amongst everybody, you can then begin to see win rates increase. So, how to build a team of consistent high performers. The first step is to pull all your data and understand who your top performer is. You can get an idea of this by looking at reports such as pipeline generated by rep and segment, average number of stakeholders involved, and even break that down by deal volume and rep, activity per rep, deal conversion rate, call outcome rep, meetings booked by rep, and whatnot. Just a little disclaimer, we recently created a guide, RevOps metrics, so the core KPIs that you should be tracking across demand generation, sales management, and service and retention. So all of those reports that I just mentioned, you will actually find inside the guide, and you can build them out in HubSpot yourself. So the next thing you're going to want to do is spend some time with that star performer that you've just identified and understand what they look at when creating deals, when speaking with decision makers, when taking that deal from its initial inception to being closed won. Fit all of this then into a qualification metrics. So we mentioned MEDDPICC at the beginning, but you could use BANT, SCOTSMAN, any variation of MEDDPICC, and whatnot. Whatever sales methodology works best for you. Again, the key is just consistency. Then you're going to want to build a qualification matrix into properties in your CRM and score them using a shared definition of what good looks like. So you can actually customize your HubSpot CRM, your panel, to show these metrics and have your sales rep record using a dropdown in order to capture these key data points. You might watch back some recordings of the star performer and look for core patterns in the call, things they say, and how they address the core pain points with the prospects. You could do this manually just by recording it, having weekly training sessions, but something we use at Six and Flow is an AI tool called Lego, where we can record and watch back sales calls and listen for tone of voice, positive and negative words, and whatnot, and use that to help our whole sales team consistently develop the same process. Step 6 is building those into a HubSpot playbook and training the team to use the playbook as a base. So, for example, MEDDPICC. You can build this into a HubSpot playbook when deals are created as you are hopping onto sales calls. You can ensure that your sales reps are consistently asking the right questions, the same questions that star performer was asking when they're speaking to the prospect. You're going to want to have your team follow this playback for a quarter. Consistency is really key. You're trying to drive home that message, drive home that process, and make it feel as easy as possible to ask those key questions and collect those key data points. You're going to then want to review the data to see how closely the team has been following the process and if it's affected the funnel. So you might not have any deals moving to close one at this point, but you can see if any pipeline has been generated, any opportunities have been created as a result of following this process, and you can then compare it to previous quarters. And then continue each month, review your deals, change the process if required, and build collateral content around the requirements for your team. and repeat it each month until your sales team begin to level out in terms of performance, and you're going to watch everybody move to that consistent high performer. So hope you found this helpful, and good luck.